Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Kapches, CEO of Chestnut Park Real Estate. Though it may seem hard to believe, but this is the penultimate market report for 2025. There's a number of themes that are running through the November market data, and I'm going to try and cover them. Some of these themes I'll cover in the last market report, which will be for December, which will wrap up the year, and also try and do some forecasting for what I believe is going to happen in the Toronto and region resale market for 2026. But let's begin with the themes that emerge from the November data. The first one is that we see sales continue to decline. You'll see from the data that's on your screen, the data that we show fairly regularly at these presentations in terms of sales, average sale price, and days on market. But I want to focus specifically on the sales and what's happening to them, and particularly what's happened to them over the course of the year. You'll see that in November, sales are down by almost 16% compared to where they were last year. But what I wanted to do was to also speak about these sales numbers in a kind of historic perspective. And I'll get into a little bit more of that perhaps when I do the December report. But at this point in time, it appears, and it's fairly safe to project what's going to happen in terms of total sales for 2025. We're going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 62,500. And I'm going to put another chart up that is going to demonstrate to you historically how low those 62,500 sales are for 2025. You'll see from the chart that in 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, more sales were accomplished during that period than in 2025. And to put that into perspective, back in 1996, the population for the Greater Toronto area was about 3.8 million people. Today, by the end of 2025, population will be about 6.8 million people. So if we think about the discrepancy between the size of the population back in 1996, when 65,760 sales were accomplished, and here we are in 2025, and we're going to do 62,500 sales with a population double what it was in 1996. That indicates to what extent the market has changed over the last few years and the level to which it has descended. And also you can see from the screen that averaging through the period, the decade before the pandemic, we're averaging in the 90,000 odd number of sales annually during that period. So huge change in the number of sales. The other areas that I think we need to look at is the average sale price. We hit an average sale price at the pinnacle of $1,322,000 back in the first quarter of 2022. Since then, we're off a little over 20%. We're down now, as you have seen from the numbers that were on the screen a little bit earlier, an average sale price of $1,039,000, which is almost 6.5% lower than what it was a year ago. So that has been the trend over the last 3 years, with average sale prices gradually working their way down to the level that they're at now. And I think there's probably going to be some further declines. And as I said a little earlier, we'll get into more of that when we do the December report and wrap up 2025. But I think we'll see more of that as we move into the end of the year and then into 2026. The other theme that's running through the November data is the huge disparity between what's happening in the 905 region and in the 416, the City of Toronto. In the case of sales, 905 sales are off by 16.8% year over year, whereas in the case of the 416, they're only off by 7.7%. In the case of average sale price, it's off by 8.75% in the 905 and only by 4.8% in the 416. So what is that telling us? What are these numbers indicating about what's happening in the market and the disparity? Well, I think what's happening is, again, this is part of the kind of post-pandemic evolution of the market. During the pandemic, the city was seen as dense, dangerous. People fled to the suburbs, huge diaspora out into the suburbs. And I think that's sort of reversing itself, in addition to the fact that more people are starting to return to the office, in some case willingly, and in some cases being at the demand of their employers. So the need to be in the city is increasing, and hence the activity within the city much better, much more less off, for lack of a better expression, than in the 905. And the last theme that I wish to mention is the condo market. What we see in November's data is the condo market year over year in terms of sales is off by almost 22%. But yet the interesting thing is that the average sale price is just off by only 1.7%, at least in the City of Toronto, where the bulk of the condominium apartment sales take place. And that's an interesting piece of data, because the condo market has taken a terrible beating, and there's many reasons for that. We've discussed them in past market reports. I'll probably touch on that again when I do the December report. But it looks like the average sale price, even though it's taking a terrible beating over the last few years, looks like it's plateauing, and that's a good sign for moving into 2026. So if we look at all of this, it is a very dark picture in terms of where the resale market is. But I think we're seeing in November that light at the end of the tunnel, when we've kind of plateaued the normalization, if I can use that term, following the pandemic market is beginning to take hold. And if we have some certainty going forward, and by certainty I mean in terms of jobs, in terms of the economy, particularly on the macroeconomic basis, we will start to see, I'm getting a little ahead of myself into forecasting for 2026, but we will start to see the market begin to evolve back into a normal market, whatever that may mean today, with more sales and average sale prices stabilizing. So I'm quite excited about getting the December data and bringing it to you, and also providing some forecasts about how I believe the 2026 market is going to perform. So until then, stay well. Thank you.